In Miami's humid December air, a city more often associated with sun-soaked beaches and nightlife than international diplomacy, an extraordinary meeting was quietly unfolding. The world's attention was fixed on a single hotel, where the stakes could not have been higher. 4 key diplomats, each representing a nation with deep interests in the Middle East, met behind closed doors, carrying the weight of Gaza's future on their shoulders. Their arrival was discreet, but the sense of urgency was unmistakable. This was no ordinary summit. It was a crisis meeting, hastily arranged to rescue a faltering peace process that had already cost countless lives. The atmosphere inside the room was tense, every word and gesture measured, as the diplomats confronted the reality that failure could mean a return to devastating violence. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, representing the world's most powerful nation, brought with him the weight of American expectations and the hope that U.S. influence could tip the balance toward peace. Qatari Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, whose country has long played a crucial mediating role in the region, was determined to keep dialogue alive, even as tensions threatened to boil over. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, representing a nation with unique access to Hamas and deep regional ties, brought a perspective shaped by years of complex negotiations and shifting alliances. And Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati, whose country shares a border with Gaza, and has often acted as a bridge between warring sides, faced the daunting task of keeping a fragile ceasefire alive. Together, these 4 men formed an unlikely coalition, united by the urgent need to prevent another humanitarian catastrophe. The truce, signed after years of war and painstaking negotiations, was already under threat from renewed violence. Reports of sporadic clashes and mounting casualties cast a shadow over the talks, reminding everyone just how fragile the peace truly was. Their joint statement was clear. All parties must uphold their commitments and halt attacks immediately. This coalition, blending American influence, Qatari and Egyptian mediation, and Turkey's unique access to key players, presented a united front to the world, signaling that failure was not an option. For a brief moment, the world saw a glimmer of hope as these leaders stood together, determined to chart a path forward. Their unity sent a powerful message. Peace in Gaza would require not just words, but unwavering commitment and cooperation. As the sun set over Miami, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, the diplomats left the hotel with a sober sense of purpose. They knew the real work was just beginning, and that every decision made in that room could shape the fate of millions. The meeting wasn't a celebration, but a recognition of the immense challenges ahead. Each diplomat carried with them the hopes of their nations and the heavy burden of responsibility to prevent further bloodshed. The fate of Gaza's peace would be tested daily on the ground, where ordinary people longed for stability and a chance to rebuild their lives. For now, the world could only watch and hope that this high-stakes push for peace would hold. Since the ceasefire began, Gaza has lived in a tense quiet, not true peace. Bombing has paused, but sporadic violence and fear persist. Israeli strikes, like the one on a school shelter, have killed hundreds of Palestinians since the truce. Each incident deepens mistrust and threatens the fragile calm. Israel, too, reports breaches. Hamas attacks have killed Israeli soldiers, fueling calls for retaliation. Both sides face pressure to respond, making the ceasefire a precarious balancing act. International monitors scramble to verify every incident, struggling to keep the peace from unraveling. The world's mediators are working overtime to prevent a return to all-out war. The latest diplomatic push in the Middle East is centered around a comprehensive 20-point peace plan, unveiled by the U.S. President in a high-profile announcement. This ambitious proposal is designed to address not only the immediate violence, but also the long-term future of Gaza and the broader region. The plan serves as a detailed blueprint for Gaza's future, laying out a step-by-step roadmap for peace, stability, and reconstruction. It aims to bring together international partners, regional stakeholders, and local communities under a shared vision. The first and most urgent step is a comprehensive ceasefire, an immediate halt to hostilities that would allow humanitarian aid to flow and create space for dialogue. Following the ceasefire, the plan calls for the establishment of a transitional administration known as the Gaza Board of Peace. This new governing body would operate independently of Hamas, aiming to restore order and provide essential services. The interim administration would be responsible for managing civil affairs, overseeing reconstruction projects, and coordinating with international agencies. Its goal is to win the trust of both local residents and the global community, setting the stage for long-term stability. To support this fragile transition, an international stabilization force is being assembled. The U.S. is actively urging its allies to contribute troops and resources, emphasizing the need for a broad coalition to ensure security. Peacekeepers would be tasked with securing Gaza's borders, protecting the new government, and creating a safe environment for rebuilding efforts to take root. Perhaps the most contentious element of the plan is its demand for Hamas's complete disarmament, a step seen as essential by the U.S. and Israel, but fiercely resisted by Hamas leadership. For Washington and Tel Aviv, disarmament is non-negotiable. For Hamas, it represents a red line that threatens their very existence and influence in the region. International mediators now face the daunting challenge of bridging this deep divide, working tirelessly to find common ground and prevent a return to violence. Ultimately, the success of the 20-point peace plan hinges on overcoming these entrenched obstacles and building a foundation for lasting peace, one that offers hope to the people of Gaza and the entire region. Peace in Gaza is fragile, tested daily by violence and mistrust. Israeli strikes, like the deadly attack on a school, fuel Palestinian anger and despair. Hundreds of Palestinians have died since the truce, making restraint difficult for their leaders. Israel cites its own casualties and security threats, justifying military responses. Each side sees the other's actions as provocations, perpetuating a cycle of violence. International mediators struggle to de-escalate, caught between competing narratives. The challenge is to break the mindset that violence is the only answer. Until both sides commit to nonviolence, peace will remain elusive. The U.S. is the chief architect of Gaza's peace initiative, driving the 20-point plan and rallying global support. Special Envoy Witkoff's Miami presence signaled hands-on American engagement. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is pressing nations to join the International Stabilization Force, a tough sell in a volatile region. The U.S. leverages its influence with Israel, urging restraint while supporting its security. Quietly, American diplomats warn against actions that could reignite conflict. Through Qatar and Egypt, the U.S. communicates with Hamas, pushing for compliance. Humanitarian aid is another tool. Washington ties reconstruction funding to progress on peace. The U.S.'s balancing act is crucial for keeping all sides at the table. Qatar and Egypt are the region's indispensable mediators. Egypt, with its border and intelligence ties, acts as Gaza's security gatekeeper and humanitarian lifeline. Cairo's leverage is vital for maintaining stability and facilitating negotiations. Qatar, as a financial backer and host to Hamas's political office, has direct access to the group's leadership. Qatari mediators urge Hamas to stick to the peace plan, relaying international concerns. Together, Qatar and Egypt bridge gaps between Israel and Hamas, translating global strategy into action. Their presence in Miami grounded talks in regional realities. They work tirelessly to keep negotiations alive and prevent a slide back into war. Turkey plays a unique dual role in the peace process. Foreign Minister Fidan aligns with the U.S., Qatar, and Egypt, lending weight to the peace plan. Simultaneously, Turkey holds direct talks with Hamas, offering a confidential channel for sensitive issues. Turkish intelligence meets with Hamas negotiators, probing red lines and relaying concerns to other mediators. This dual-track approach keeps Hamas engaged and invested in diplomacy. Turkey's ability to speak to all sides makes it an indispensable bridge. Recent statements from Hamas affirming the truce reflect Ankara's influence. Turkey's engagement is key to keeping the peace process on track. While diplomats negotiate, Gaza's humanitarian crisis deepens. Winter storms have turned makeshift camps into flooded, freezing hazards for displaced families. The war's toll is staggering: over 70,000 killed, most women and children, and thousands more missing. Even during the ceasefire, bodies are still being recovered from the rubble. Humanitarian aid is blocked by Israeli restrictions, leaving people without food, shelter, or medicine. Aid agencies face bureaucratic nightmares at border crossings, delaying life-saving supplies. The suffering fuels anger and instability, undermining peace efforts. Mediators are pressuring Israel to ease restrictions and allow aid in. For Gazans, peace will be measured by relief, not just words. The path to peace in Gaza is steep and uncertain, shadowed by decades of mistrust, violence, and broken promises. Generations have grown up knowing only conflict, and the scars of war are etched into the very landscape and the hearts of its people. The longing for normalcy, for a life free from fear, is a dream that has often seemed out of reach. Yet, in the midst of this turmoil, the US, Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey have come together, forming a rare coalition that brings a glimmer of hope to a region desperate for change. Their collaboration is not just symbolic, it represents a genuine effort to bridge divides and foster dialogue where it has so often broken down. Their unity offers the best chance for stability in years, but the road ahead is fraught with challenges. Success will require relentless pressure, skilled diplomacy, and a willingness to make difficult choices. Every negotiation is a test of patience and resolve, and setbacks are inevitable. Day to day, these diplomats mediate crises, respond to emergencies, and push for humanitarian access. They work tirelessly to keep hope alive, ensuring that food, medicine, and basic necessities reach those in need, even as violence and uncertainty persist. Ultimately, lasting peace depends on the willingness of both Israelis and Palestinians to compromise, to see each other's humanity, and to imagine a future built on mutual respect. Without this, even the most well-intentioned efforts will fall short. The Gaza Board of Peace and the presence of an international force are important tools for maintaining order and building trust. But real progress requires more than security. It demands that the core issues of dignity, security, and self-determination are addressed for all people in the region. As of December 21, 2025, Gaza's future hangs in the balance. The city stands at a crossroads, its people waiting to see if this moment will mark the beginning of a new chapter or just another cycle of disappointment. The coalition's commitment is a vital anchor in these turbulent times, offering stability and a sense that the world has not forgotten Gaza's plight. Their continued engagement is essential for any hope of progress. Only through collective will, persistent diplomacy, and the courage to envision a different future can Gaza move toward a secure, prosperous tomorrow, one where peace is not just a distant hope, but a lived reality for all.